Nice to meet you, Dev. So I'm Anna. I'm the Helpline team leader. And I've worked for the organisation for a while now, about 5 years. So yeah, this is really just a chance to, kind of say hello to you. You've been supporting us for a while. And really it's just about letting you know that actually the helpline's here for you. You don't have to have a question about diabetes. But really, in this time, with lockdown, the pandemic, it's been a very difficult time for everybody for various reasons. But how have you found it?
So I found it really difficult at the start. Suddenly, everything had just come to a halt. And with an underlying condition like diabetes, you're always really worried, aren't you, if you're going to get it? And there was all these headlines that if you've got underlying conditions, it makes it a lot worse. So I panicked at the start. And gradually, I got my head round that this is going to be with us for many months, and I've got to get out of it and start being constructive and start doing things. So I changed my mode of thinking. It was ever so overwhelming at the start, thinking, goodness me. But yes, I
It's not something we've really experienced like this before, So, I've heard lots of people, sort of older adults, sort of compare it to wartime, where people were stuck indoors or they had to, really be safe, and sort of think before they do something, if it's stepping outside your door, what are we thinking that we have to do now? Whereas before we were free to do anything we wanted to, and one of the things you said, you had to change and sort of adapt, what sort of things have you sort of changed in this time?
So obviously, I kept well away from the shops and supermarkets. I did a click and collect. I didn't go anywhere near where there was crowds or busy people. But I needed something to do to keep myself busy. So I took up hiking. I've always gone to the gym and I've done classes and swimming and various things, but obviously that had all closed down. So I started off with hiking and I just built my miles up. So you could go in the countryside, you were out in the fresh air, and built my miles up from started with 6 miles, 8 miles, and then got to a stage where walking 15 miles. And it was really nice because it occupied my day. I got the exercise that I need as a diabetic because I think that's really important. And it just took my mind away from constantly worrying about COVID and, what was happening out there.
That's exactly what it is, isn't it? It's focusing on something that you're enjoying, and it sounds amazing to actually almost be having that time now, because you're not in your usual routine, to focus on something that you enjoy and almost embracing this time, and actually, if you're going hiking by yourself, there is something around, almost like that mental well-being as well, isn't it? Around thinking, you're alone with your own thoughts, you're able to process things, and actually, like you said, it's almost that 2-in-1. You're exercising as well, which is great for diabetes management. How have you found the diabetes management in this time? Because like you said, you've been doing like the click and collect, and at beginning of lockdown, there was a lot of worry and concerns that we were hearing about, that people couldn't get priority slots for their shopping. There were concerns at actually stepping into a supermarket. So, that was quite a difficult, challenging time. Did you find a bit like that?
Definitely very challenging. I mean, definitely couldn't get any delivery orders. That was out. So managed to get a few click and collects, but got a really good support network with friends. So we helped each other, if they got click and collect or I got click and collect, we shopped for each other and helped people out. So that really helped.
Things have started to sort of ease back down to sort of what we're used to at the moment. Yeah, I mean, normal, I don't know what's normal.
What's normal? The new normal.
The new normal, but also, actually now that things are, lockdown is easing. Actually, this is quite a challenging time because there's still that level of anxiety that actually this virus is still around,
Yes.
you know, and things are opening up, you know, should we be concerned at that same level, or should we kind of relax a little bit? And that's what you know, I think everyone is sort of struggling with at the moment, especially, you know, a lot of people that we come into contact with. But how are you finding it at the moment? Because, you know, you've got a good support network, which is great, and I'm sure that you'd love to see your friends and family as you know, as often as maybe you used to. But how are you finding it at the moment?
So Leicester's still in lockdown, and we've still got a lot of restrictions. So we still can't go to the pubs with friends, or that's not a choice that we've got. Before this second lockdown, we could have friends in the garden. So I just started seeing friends in the garden, you know, where you're 2 meters apart, meet for a drink, but that's all not allowed again. So it's difficult. It's really hard. But you haven't got a choice, have you? It's something you've got to live with.
But I guess one of the things that kind of came to my attention was that you didn't know the helpline was there for you, just to have a chat. And I guess, you know, one of the biggest sort of, you know, one of our selling points as an organisation is actually we do have this helpline for people who are affected by diabetes. So even if it's not yourself that calls, that actually it could be your friends or your family who know that you have diabetes, and actually it impacts them in some ways, you know, whether it's a positive way or a not so positive way, you know. But I guess what we try to do is to support everybody with their unique situation. And I guess there's times where people might call in and feel they don't know what to eat, or they've just been diagnosed, and actually this is really overwhelming, you know, and that's why we exist, really, is to offer that support. You know, it's a service that people don't, you know, need to be a member, or they don't need to donate to have that conversation. Actually, it's some time out for you. Yep, we're not medically trained, but we do have that knowledge of this is what we know, and this is what you can go and discuss with your healthcare team. How long have you had diabetes?
So 3 years now. And like you said, I didn't know anything about the helpline. I thought it was for a specific question, if you had something medical to question. And for that, I thought I always went to the hospital, you know, to inquire with the diabetes team in the hospital. So it's really useful to know they can ring up the helpline for absolutely anything. Even if you want to chat, you're having a bad day, things going wrong, you can ring them up. And that's really useful to know, because I certainly didn't know that.
Diabetes can affect our emotional and psychological well-being, and that's something, you know, as an organisation, we you know, trying to campaign on, you know, to make sure that it's on the agenda for when you're having conversations with your diabetes team. And certainly, yeah, we definitely want to be, you know, on the map, you know, to
useful to know.
You.
Really useful to know. Yes, because
absolutely.
I'd certainly contact them if I know I just want to chat, or things are going wrong and I need to talk to somebody, or like you say, it's out of hours where the hospital teams are closed, or at the weekend. Now I know, and it's really useful. It's an excellent service, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, and certainly, you know, we've got like our online forum, which is open, you know, 24/7, you know, I say open, it's online, you know, and, you know, it's speaking with other people who have diabetes or affected by diabetes. And that peer support is, you know, valuable to have, really. You know, you might not have other people in your social circle that has diabetes. So to have other people with diabetes to speak to is very valuable resource. How, I mean, I heard that your son's back living with you since lockdown. How's that been?
Well, I had my husband at home and my son, and I started cooking a lot, baking a lot, cooking a lot, and that didn't help my diabetes at all.
Yeah,
but
that's a common
from home still, and because he works in Westminster, but obviously they've closed everything. and my son's back at work now, so things have eased off. And I'm getting back to salads and healthy foods again. Things that don't spike my blood sugars.
Yeah. And it's that kind of mentality as well, isn't it, that you're doing really well, you know, to manage your sugars.
Yes.
But there is that risk of, if you fall off the wagon, that
for too long, then it's hard to get back on.
It is, isn't it? And I think, you know, that's where I guess the emotional support from the helpline can come in. Because if we're too harsh on ourselves, then we're almost it's that kind of self-fulfilling prophecy of, oh, I'm bad, well, I'm going to be bad, and then I am bad, and it's that language as well that actually we almost blame ourselves and punish ourselves for, which doesn't help, does it? You know, I guess one thing is from all of this is that the lockdown has helped us to almost stop and reflect on where we are with things. You know, you've picked up hiking again, which is absolutely amazing. And I guess it's taking those pleasures in the things that you've always enjoyed but never really had that time to focus on. So do you think it's something that you would sort of continue once things are back to normality?
Once a week. I've always hiked, but not to this intensity. So I think I'll carry on once a week. And the nice thing is, it's been nice to have family time as well. It's been really nice to have family time, because my husband's left at 6 in the morning normally, and he's not back till 7:30 at night. Same with my son. Everybody's working long hours. People are tired. Well, this has sort of changed the lifestyle completely, hasn't it? And everybody's at home. You've got a lot more time to have conversations. It's a lot stress-free, a lot less, you know, stress-free. They're not traveling. So it's made a big difference, and it's had goods and bads, COVID.
Yeah. Living with a long-term health condition, and the same for myself, you know, living with a long-term health condition, it has actually made me stop and think, actually, I need to look after myself here. And if there's something that I need, you know, some time out or a break, is actually let me do that, because it is around looking after ourselves, isn't it? You know, and making the most out of our lives, you know, really.
And it's taught you different ways to work as well, like you're all working from home rather than having to travel long hours, and you can still get the work done, can't you? But it's making people think different ways of
absolutely working. I mean, you know, we've struggled because we can't really fulfill all the things that we usually do. You know, we can't just pop to the printer and pop some information in the post for somebody, or you know, really just you know, complete a transaction fully if you know that's what people have called up for. But you know, what we really did do was actually set up our call center overnight. You know, we were working in the office, and then the next day we weren't. You know, and you know, we're a big team. We're about 30 people. So to actually you know, set everybody up 30 different mini call centers across the country, you know, was a challenge. But it's something we knew we had to do. But it sounds like, you know, we're doing okay, you know, and that's
really well.
That's all we can hope for, really, isn't it? Is to maintain that, and hopefully, like you said, get back to some sort of normality. Or the new normal, as you put it, as well.
I think Diabetes UK as an organisation is excellent as well. Is really good. They're really supportive, and this technology, let me get it in there. I love it. I absolutely love it.
That's brilliant. How have you found monitoring with your Libra there? How's, you know, do you find that you're always kind of scanning and looking at your device?
Constantly, constantly. But I find it amazing. I absolutely love this technology. It gives you an almost normal life, and I hardly get hypos like when I'm hiking or when I'm exercising, cooking, because you're constantly scanning, and if you see yourself dropping, you just take action. So before technology, I remember getting severe hypos, getting all weak and, you know, sitting down. This is just a game changer, completely a game changer.
That's
And
lovely to know.
I hope more people get it, because it's amazing. And at night, 2 o'clock in the morning, you know, finger prick or just a quick scan and you go back to sleep. It's fantastic what Diabetes UK have done to, you know, get as many people on it.
This is it, isn't it? It's about trying to make things easier. You know, and like you said, waking up at 2 a.m. and having to do a finger prick test is so disruptive to your sleep. And then, you know, I don't know about you, but if I haven't had a good night's sleep,
I'm grumpy. Yes,
I'm grumpy too.
I am.
So yeah, definitely, you know, that disrupted sleep is not helpful in the long run. You know, for the next day, you're exhausted. You know, you're not really yourself. You're feeling maybe a bit moody, and you know, and that in itself can affect, you know, relationships and interactions with people. You know, your work, your social interactions. So, you know, definitely, like you said, the Libra is a game changer, and I would love to see more people using it and being and having the access to it. You know, I think that's really, really important.
Just it's useful knowing that the helpline exists, and I certainly know for the future that it's not just there. If you've got a medical question, you can ring up for a chat. If you're mentally feeling low, you can ring them up. So that's really useful. I've learned something new, and I love technology. So if they can do more for technology for the people, all the better.
I mean, our helpline is staffed by advisors who have counselling backgrounds. So there's that emotional support is something that we sort of pride ourselves in, because that's what, you know, we specialise in some ways. And the diabetes knowledge, you know, is given to us by Diabetes UK. You know, we are trained to understand the condition. You know, some of us don't have diabetes, some do. But what we do is actually go through a training program to actually develop the understanding of the conditions, you know, right from the basics to the most complex. And I guess, you know, as a team, you know, that's what we're here for, you know, to support everybody who's affected by diabetes as best we can. And so, yeah, it would be great to hear from you again, you know, in the future. Because it sounds like, you know, it's almost that opening those doors, you know, there's another resource there. And like you said, if you're having an off day and you just want to talk things through, then that's exactly what we're there for.